everybody, to our little ASEA presentation. I really appreciate everybody coming on, and I congratulate you for coming on and taking the time to learn a little bit more about this product. What I'm going to do first is tell my quick story about ASEA and my illness and how this has helped me tremendously. So I had been sick for about 8 years with from a bug bite. And we don't name diseases. ASEA does not claim to treat, prevent, cure anything. So we have to be very careful about what we say about the product. But as for myself, I have been very sick from a bug bite, which many people are very familiar with. I kind of let it go for a few years. I didn't really know what was wrong with me. I went undiagnosed probably for about 5 years, and it got to the point where it was terribly miserable. The joint pain was the first thing that started, and as time progressed, I developed brain fog, mental fatigue, tingling in the extremities, facial numbness, forgetfulness, irritability, you name it. I developed everything. Like I said, I went misdiagnosed for a few years. Some doctors were telling me I had, MS, all types of different things. When I was finally diagnosed, I went to go see a specialist in Westchester, and he gave me a list of symptoms. I checked everyone off. He says, you have this particular disease. We did some blood work, and immediately he got me started on antibiotics. Long story short, I was on 2.5 years of antibiotics. I did the oral treatments and the IV treatments. Those practically wiped me out. As most of you know, when you take a lot of antibiotics, it really brings down your immune system. I was catching every cold and flu that came my way. I lost 20 pounds. It was pretty much a disaster. I ended the antibiotic regimen. I just realized I couldn't do this anymore, so I tried more holistic approaches. Fortunately, my neighbor runs the pharmacy in town. She was helping me with the pharmaceutical side, but she also runs the holistic side. So we did a lot of research together, and we started trying a lot of different things. Some things helped, most things didn't. I was doing chiropractic work. I was doing acupuncture. I tried everything. One day I walked into her pharmacy, and she says to me, Scott, I got something for you to try. And I was like, what now, Donna? Because I've tried everything in this store. She goes, no, it's this product, ASEA. I looked at it. I said, it's salt water. I swim in it. Doesn't help me. I don't know how drinking it's going to help me. So she says, no, take the time, look at my video. And I said, Donna, this is network marketing. I really don't want anything to do with it. As I'm standing there and I'm looking at some information, I'm getting a little interested in it because the information looked pretty neat. Another woman walks in the store and she says, Donna, I'm here for my ASEA. And I stopped and I turned and said, okay, what's your story? She told me she'd been suffering from an autoimmune condition for quite some time, for 3 years, and she'd been drinking ASEA for 3 months and she never felt better. So I said, okay, I'll give this a shot. I bless that woman every day when I see her in town because it's now been almost 5 years I've been drinking this product. And I can tell you, I've never felt better. When I first started taking it, I was about 2-3 weeks in. And any of you people out there with the condition that I had know, when that bowling ball gets lifted off your brain, that was an incredible feeling 3 weeks in. I also equate it to the Wizard of Oz when, everything's in black and white when you're sick. And then all of a sudden, bang, it goes to color. I've been on the product now for almost 5 years. I've just seen tremendous wellness spurts in my body. At this point, I'm symptom free. I've never felt better. I'm actually getting ready to do a Spartan race in 2 weeks. I finished my first one last year. That was my goal when I started to get better. I had worked out a lot when I was younger, and I couldn't do it anymore because of my illness. And this has brought me back so far, and it's the reason why I share with people, and I try to spread the word because this is something that people need to know about. It's become my passion, and there's a few other people here on this call. It's become their passion as well to share this product because now it's ASEA, a multivitamin, and some colloidal silver that I take for my condition. And I've never felt better. And I have these two people, Dr. Foster and Terri Malmed, to thank for bringing it to the East Coast. Terri will tell her story and how they got introduced to it. But please welcome our special guests, and it is an honor for me to introduce them, Dr. Foster and Terri Malmed. Dr. Malmed is a member of the ASEA Health Professionals Board. Both Terri and Dr. Malmed were awarded the ASEA Business Builders of the Year Award. They're great friends of mine. They are my mentors, and they are the driving force behind my passion with this product. And I really thank you guys for jumping on here and answering some questions from people and telling us your stories. So thank you. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Scott. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So yeah, Scott's story is very touching, and it's one of probably about 10,000 that I've heard now. I'm one of those. I'm going to go through our story very quickly so that we can get a little bit into the science, get some questions answered. But our story started, it'll be 7 years in August. And a friend of ours from California called and said he had this amazing product. He didn't quite understand the science. He was a network marketer. We were not. And he talked about the cardiovascular benefits. He knew I was a personal trainer. He talked about the athletic benefits, the cardiovascular benefits. What he did not know was that I was really sick. I also suffered from what Scott suffered from, but also it had turned also into an autoimmune disorder. I was very sick. I'd been sick for 6 years. I had hidden myself away from the world. I couldn't find words, and my whole body hurt. I was extreme fatigue. My life had become very unmanageable. And being a personal trainer for 15 years, it had got to the point where I couldn't work out anymore. But even lifting weights for my clients, I had my own personal training studio, was very difficult. My husband is a chiropractor. He was working at Putnam Hospital. He was the only chiropractor at Putnam Hospital there. And we just kind of did it as a favor. Our friend said, you know, it just seems like this miracle. I met the scientists, I met the founders, and he was just so excited about it. So to be honest, we really just did it as a favor. We kind of like, all right, yeah, we'll try it. We really didn't expect anything. I did everything, guys, from Western medicine, Eastern medicine, just like Scott. I did handfuls of supplements every day. And I just kept getting worse. The medications that my rheumatologists were giving me, I just had to take more and more medication to combat the side effects from all of the medication. I'm going to mute. Somebody is speaking. If you could just mute your line, guys. If let's
already
find
done.
them.
She just did.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Margie.
Thank you. So nothing worked. I just was getting worse. So it was kind of just as a favor. I said, fine, give me one more thing, one more supplement. What's it going to hurt? And in 3 days, I got out of bed and I was able to walk. Everything was gone. I felt amazing. I didn't think it was this product because we were told it was a sports product. So I did great that day. Day 4, I was even better. Day 5, I wasn't having to nap anymore. And I said to Foster, I said, honey, it's got to be this product. I haven't felt this good in 6 years. My husband's a researcher. He's a scientist. He loves to do that research. And he hadn't so far. Like I said, we were just doing it as a favor. So he didn't think it was this product either. On day 8, though, Foster started to feel good. He didn't have any health conditions per se, but it was mid-August. The allergens were very high that day, and he normally would have itchy eyes and watery, nose and eyes, and he didn't. But he called me and he said, you know what? He goes, I feel really good today. He goes, I feel this great mental clarity. I feel amazing. Like my mouth can keep up with my brain. And so that was the beginning for us. That's when Foster started to do his research into redox signaling molecules. And he started to read Dr. Gary Samuelson, who was the atomic medical physicist who helped to stabilize these molecules. About halfway through this book of Dr. Samuelson's, he said, Terri, he goes, this is why you're better. He got so excited, you guys. He was like, this is going to change the world. He said, people have no idea what this stuff is. And that was the beginning of our journey. We got on a plane. We went out to the launch of the company. Not being network marketers, I used to think network marketing was a pyramid scheme. That was my ignorance. I hadn't done my research into it. And we got to meet the founders. We got to meet the scientists. We got to meet the people running this company. And we realized we found out that it was more of a mission. It wasn't about making money, was about helping people. And we'll tell that story in a little while. But that's how we got into ASEA. And just by sharing the product with people, that's all I said I was going to do. I'm just going to share the product. I don't want to do the business. And by sharing the product, we started making money. We started getting checks. We started winning awards. We started winning trips. And we were like, gosh, you know what? Maybe this network marketing thing works. But again, for us, it was more about helping people because I got my life back. As my husband says, he got his wife back and my children got their mom back. So would you like to add anything to that? No? Nope. Go right ahead. And then I'll start the...
Just to add one more minute to the story. So I got my wife back, and the whole world is an experiment today to me. So after coming back from the launch of the company, I gave the product to 5 of my patients who had the same thing as Terri. Some unknown illness, maybe it was tick related, maybe it was just immune system, didn't know, nobody could figure it out. And every one of them had the same result. Some were 3 days, some were 3 months, but everybody had the same result. And that really got my attention. And then, and I'll make it really short because we don't ever claim to cure, treat, diagnose, prevent anything ever. One of my favorite patients came in who had a grave illness, and he wasn't expected to be on the planet for about another 5 weeks or more. And he was told to get his affairs in order. And we got him on this product, and that was 6.5 years ago, and he's still awesome. So when we saw that happen, I said, okay, at Putnam Hospital, they can try to throw me out, and they probably will, but I have the science behind me, and they're not going to be able to, and that's how this all started.
Okay, so if you say I shouldn't use blank,
somebody is not muted. Guys, if you could just please keep yourself muted.
They come in this color right here.
From here. And over there.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay, we got the dashboard. It's awesome.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I get really thrown off when people are talking in the background. We're going to talk a little bit about the science. I hope if you are new here, keep an open mind. 7 years ago, redox signaling was a new science. It's no longer new. This company is now in 30 countries. Redox signaling is the biggest science. It is bigger than any science. Oh, that's Scott's phone.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's so you're going to learn a little bit about the science tonight. Do your research, you guys. Go look at and see what redox signaling molecules are. Put in redox signaling in any health condition and watch what you see. You're going to see tens of thousands. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to share a little bit about the science with you, so that it'll give you a little head start into. You don't have to read all the books. We'll teach you a little bit about what these molecules do.
Or maybe you can leave the research to me and just trust Scott.
There you go. Okay, give me just a second, guys, and I'm going to share my screen. Can you see that, Scott? Thumbs up?
Yes. Yep, I can see it.
Okay, give me just a sec. I've lost my mouse. Can you find it? Find my mouse, please. It's not there. We've lost our mouse. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Let the show go on.
Yes.
Okay, so ASEA, redox signaling molecules. This is one of the most significant health and anti-aging discoveries of our lifetime. The science that was declared impossible. So in 1998, a Nobel Prize was bestowed upon 3 doctors who did research on the first known redox signaling molecule. When they found out how important it was, and they saw that this deserved a Nobel Prize, scientists around the world tried to make this a commercializable product. They tried to put it in a bottle. No one could, and it was declared that you cannot put redox signaling molecules that are incredibly important into a bottle. It was impossible and abandoned all around the world except for one place. Okay, so the ASEA breakthrough. So when you look at what it is that we have and you look at the ingredients on our bottle, you notice it's different than most things. So it's not a vitamin, it's not a mineral, it's not an antioxidant, it's not an exotic juice. It goes way beyond all of those things. So you see that list of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, exotic juices. When you drink those things or eat those things or ingest those things along with your food, you hope that your body's smart enough to know where those things should be sent, where the nutrients should go, that your body functions the way it's designed. That is the realm of redox signaling molecules. They tell all those things where to go, what to do, and how to do it. So all of those things we consider are the natural resources, the raw materials, and ASEA redox signalers, the same thing every cell in your body makes, is the labor. It makes everything happen. So it impacts your health at a depth that no other supplement has ever come close to. So we live and die at the cellular level. So this is as science-y as we're going to get, I promise. Many of you probably remember that the mitochondria is the power plant of the cell, and that's because that's where ATP, our energy source, is made. And what people didn't know until recently is that that's also when redox signaling molecules are made in the mitochondria. This is over 15,000 peer-reviewed articles. That's true. It's in over 1,000 books. But if you go to a website called scholar.google.com and put in redox signal, you'll see closer to 500,000. That's a lot of stuff going on. Each one of these 15,000 peer-reviewed articles is about 1,000 hours of study. So that's about 15 million hours of study. This is the new science. It's the breakthrough. It is the key to cellular rejuvenation. Nothing gets better in your body. You can't heal from anything. You can't repair anything unless redox signaling molecules are present in enough volume, enough supply, enough balance, and that's how we stay healthy. That's the way the body was designed.
And it's kind of like a good way to look at it is, like I said, I took handfuls of antioxidants every day. Scott did antioxidants every day. Nothing worked because we did not have our redox signaling molecules, we didn't have a good supply, they weren't working properly, and so that's what changed it for us.
Okay, so people say, so how do we lose them? So with age, with diet, with stress, environmental toxins, with diseases, with bug bites, with not enough sleep, with this whole aging process, we lose the ability to make these molecules and keep them in a balanced amount of them. And now with ASEA, now we can rebalance. So redox signaling deficiencies and imbalance happen just as we age. Diminished cellular efficiency and function as you lose the balance. The cellular healing process becomes slow or stops, and you begin to feel like you are older.
So that, and if somebody could please, if your line is not muted, please mute yourself. We can hear background noise. Thank you.
All right.
I think that's George Rathmel.
George, if you could please mute your line, that'd be great.
How do I mute it?
Just mute your phone or mute your computer.
To be able to replenish your cells with more redox signaling molecules would be groundbreaking. It was said to be impossible for almost 2 decades because they're fleeting, because you can't keep them stable until ASEA came along. It was the redox breakthrough. So it was almost 2 decades, millions of dollars of research, heavily patented, now over 30 patents. By the way, salt water doesn't get over 30 patents. We have the breakthrough. We have that which everyone has sought after in the scientific community and said that it just couldn't be done. And a team of scientists led by Dr. Gary Samuelson achieved the impossible. They created and stabilized redox signaling molecules outside of the body. So now the only places you can get redox signaling molecules in the world is from your own cells and from our product set. The only place.
Which is pretty cool. So, ASEA, we have the drink, which heals from the inside out. Hey, Sabrina, please mute yourself. I can't find, there you go, thank you. And then we have Renu 28, which came out in 2014, which is a topical gel, which we're gonna talk about, which heals from the outside in. So ASEA is the only company in the world where you can get this powerful redox technology. That's really important. Think about that. There's so many other products out there, so many other people making claims about things. It's our shake, our juice, our antioxidant. Nobody has redox signaling molecules except for us and ASEA. Bioagilitics. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So bioagilitics, so when you want to get your product certified, if you're a drug company, you go to a bioagilitic. So bioagilitic, they are a laboratory that is world-renowned. They certify 8 of the top 10 pharmaceutical companies and their pharmaceutical products in the world. And so we needed to go where the best was. And so bioagilitics certifies regularly that every batch of ASEA that they test is filled with trillions and trillions of redox signaling molecules. We are not salt water, we are redox signaling molecules.
We are 100% safe. This is really important. ASEA did over $6 million just in safety studies alone. ASEA is safe for a newborn baby. It's safe for somebody that's 100 and something years old. It's safe for if you're taking a ton of medication. It doesn't matter what age you are, what you're taking, what condition you have. Please listen, this is safe for everybody. This has been now on the market for 8 years. There has never been one side effect, one negative reaction. It is impossible. It's called, there's no endotoxicity, cytotoxicity, no toxicity. This is safer than water. That's how safe it is. Like I said, you could give this to a baby. You could drink this whole bottle and it would be safe because all we're doing is giving back the body that which it lacks, and we're just giving it more redox signaling molecules. So 100% safe.
Okay, so when we look at problems that the body has, I know on this call we have people who have bug bites. We have people who have systemic conditions, autoimmune disorders, heart problems, lung problems, neurological problems. It doesn't matter. When your body is trying to recognize what a problem is, it's just the cells in that system. So you can see this beautiful chart and it shows endocrine system and musculoskeletal system. Every system is just made up of an organ or gland. And those parts are made up of tissue. And tissue is just made up of cells. So this is a cellular health product. When you drink this product, it allows your cells to protect themselves.
We need somebody to mute themselves.
The 201-913-1211 number, please mute yourself. Thank you so much. So all cells have 4 jobs, and that's to protect themselves, detect problems, repair problems, and replace them. That is the realm of redox signaling molecules. They manage that whole process. And as we replenish them, we are able to have that process work much better, like we were much younger.
Hold on, my thing is not working here. Sorry, my clicker stopped. Oy, oy, oy. It's not working. I need my glasses.
Okay.
Give me just a second, guys. So sorry.
While Terry, by the way, is our techno wizard.
That's pretty sad.
Exactly. It's starting to work, I think. So there we go. It's going that direction. Okay, we're on our way.
Is this the right one?
Yep, just keep going in the right direction. Good, good, good.
Correct?
Keep going. Absolutely, keep going.
Good.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Sorry, guys.
Almost there.
Trying
this
to
is where we
people.
were.
Okay.
Beautiful. Okay, so every system. So on this call, there were people who have questions. And the questions are going to be, will it help me? I have blank. The answer is, it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter if it's a hangnail, or if it's a cold, or if it's something that you got from a bug, or if it's something that you got genetically. It's just cells that don't function well enough. And everyone who drinks ASEA has cellular improvement. It's that simple, and there are no side effects. So these are cell signalers. So a cell can't do anything unless it can communicate with the cells next to it, and with the inside of the cell. They're messengers. It is the most complex communication network you've ever seen, I promise. And any breakdown in communication weakens your health. Okay, why don't you tell the fire story? You're so good at it.
Oh, you think so?
I do.
Well, think about this. So if your house, your kitchen catches on fire, and you go to call the fire department, and you have no phone, no cell service, you have no bars on your cell phone, what happens? Your kitchen burns, your house burns, and hopefully nobody's in it, but the house goes because you have no bars on your cell phone. Same thing is true with your cells. Same thing. Your cells need to communicate with each other. That's their job, is to communicate and signal. It's just like having the bars on your cell phone. They signal, they tell each other, fix yourself or kill yourself, repair yourself. So if that doesn't happen, like I said, the house burns, these signalers are called redox signalers for a reason, because they communicate, the cells.
So when you drink ASEA, you get more bars on the cellular communication inside of your cells and between your cells. And when that happens, then the cells can call for help, whether they need to be repaired or replaced. And that's the only way for you to be healthy. Okay, so we all know about antioxidants. So why do we take antioxidants? So if you break that word down, it's anti-oxidation. So oxidation is what happens to your car when it has bare metal. It gets hit by oxygen and it starts to rust. And if that rusting isn't stopped, your car is going to degenerate and then you're going to lose your car. That's rust, that's oxidation. That's why we take antioxidants. So the paint on your car, that's an antioxidant. Vitamin supplements are antioxidants. The most important antioxidants in the world, your body makes itself. And when you drink ASEA, your body makes more of them. Your body makes them in a better way. Supplements can't make it happen the way ASEA does. So ASEA makes your cells do what they were designed to do, improve glutathione, which is a big word, but that's your most important detoxifier. That's why some of you, when you go on the product, sometimes you feel great, then you feel bad. It's because now all that junk that you've been accumulating for a year or a decade or 30 or 40 or 50 years, now it's coming out. Now it's going in your bloodstream. Now you don't feel so good. Now you're detoxifying, and now you're in for the roller coaster, because many people go through it, small percentage, 15%, but when you do, you know this stuff's working because it's not a side effect. So antioxidants that you take from the outside, Terri took about 20 a day, Scott probably took 30 a day. They don't work unless they're activated by, you guessed it, redox signaling molecules. So the most recent study that we did showed that we decrease oxidative stress levels. So we're decreasing the ability for the body to rust. And by the way, that one, lowering oxidized LDL, how do you think you get heart disease? Bad cholesterol that gets oxidized, but our study shows that we decrease the oxidation level of that which causes heart disease. That sounds pretty important to me. So ASEA refuels your cells with the ability to signal. So what are the experts saying? Well, Terri's my favorite expert, so why don't you tell them?
Ann-Louise Gittleman, she is called the First Lady of Nutrition. So she is the one, remember that pyramid in the 80s, the food pyramid? Ann-Louise Gittleman is the one who did that for the government. She says, in her humble estimation, ASEA is the greatest advance in lifestyle medicine, which harnesses the power of your own body to keep you well. She has written over 30 books. She stopped the presses on her last one so that she could put ASEA into it. That's that important to her. She is sharing ASEA around the world, and she is the First Lady of Nutrition. And then Dr. Gary Samuelson, atomic medical physicist, he says the redox signaling process is remarkable because it is the process that allows us to regenerate tissue and maintain our normal function and capacities. This technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health we have ever seen.
And you know what? After using this in a hospital for 5 years, I can tell you, Dr. Gary Samuelson is absolutely right. We saw lives change that we never expected that we would see change. And that's why we're here with you on a Wednesday night when we could have been on the deck having juice. But instead, we're here to help people understand how important this is. So
I'm going to stop the science. And I'm going to stop this. Here we go. I'm going to stop this. I don't know where this has gone to. Cannot find my.
Don't you hate? If Scott was here, he'd figure it out.
My mouse has disappeared. My mouse has disappeared, so I can't even stop the screen share. So I'm just going to leave it right there. And Scott, we're just going to send it back to you, as I know people must have some questions. I know you had some questions for us.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so some people have reached out to me and sent me some questions. And if anybody else on this presentation night has any questions, please type it in the chat to me, and I will relay them to Dr. Malmed and Terri. So one of the very first questions that I received from somebody was, I have a friend who's been taking ASEA for a little while. She's a childhood survivor of a very serious illness, and she lives with a lot of physical pain. The product worked its magic right away. She was feeling great, had all sorts of energy, mental clarity, less pain, and then everything did a 360 on her. She's been a little lethargic, foggy, feeling just horrible. Has this ever happened to anyone?
Yes, and congratulations. If you're on this Zoom, that's what we would say is congratulations. Your body is going through what's called the healing process. So you started to take ASEA, and it instantly starts to work. As soon as these molecules touch your lips, touch your skin, anything, they are called reactive molecules. They react, they go to work. And so your body started to heal. And what happens is, as you saw the increase in antioxidants, the glutathione, the superoxide dismutase, glutathione is the body's master detoxifier. And as you saw on that one slide, ASEA increases your own body's glutathione, the bioactivity, the bioavailability by about 800%. That is unheard of in the world. Nothing else can do that. You can't just go to the pharmacy and buy a supplement of glutathione. The body is meant to heal itself. It is meant to repair itself. So when you take ASEA and the body starts to heal, it starts to, as the glutathione is the body's master detoxifier, as I said, it starts to dump all of the bad stuff into your body. It's got to get rid of that. So the key is water. And as Dr. Malmed said, about 15% of people, yep, me too, about 15% of people get what's called a healing process or a detox, a Herxheimer reaction, whatever you want to call it. It's the body getting rid of the bad stuff. So you've got to drink a lot of water in the beginning to help flush out all of that bad stuff. It's got to get out of you. It's got to go through the kidneys. It's got to be flushed out. So the reason your immune system is now kicked in, it's trying to get rid of all of this stuff. And so it can make you can feel like really bad, but it's a congratulations. It's not a side effect or a reaction of ASEA. That is impossible. It is your body healing too quickly. And that's why we say congratulations. It means your body's reacting very quickly. So just drink a ton of water. If you need to, cut back on the ASEA, just lower the amount that you're taking, increase your water intake, and then as your body is healing, you can start to increase the ASEA. You want to add to that?
Nope, that's awesome.
Fantastic. All right, next question. Is ASEA safe for newborns?
I already said that. Yes.
You did.
Yes.
You actually answered a bunch of the questions that I have here. So
As is the Renu, you could use the Renu on baby's diaper rash. You can use this on the heel. It doesn't matter. You can use this on the heels of your feet. You can drink it. You can put it in a baby bottle. It doesn't matter. It's safe for everyone. And you know what? That's pretty awesome, because when you go and look at the supplements that you're taking, every supplement will say not to give it to a child, not for children under the age of 12. Even for pregnant nursing women, it'll say, not to do it. The only thing ASEA says is to check with your doctor before, if you're pregnant or nursing, for you to just check with your doctor, but it does not say it is unsafe. So again, ASEA did $6 million in safety studies. You guys, that's really important because most supplements you take, if a supplement company does $100,000 in safety studies, that is a lot in the supplement world. We take supplements, we like nothing. People will take and they don't care how much research has been done, how much safety studies have been done. Don't get hung up on these little things. If you'll just go and take a supplement without doing research, there is so much research that has been put into this. But how many million? $16 million of research that was done just in the beginning was $16 million. And like I said, $6 million in safety studies alone. So yeah, this is good for everybody and it's safe for everybody. And go ahead.
Okay, I got another question from Nico, actually. This is kind of directed towards me and Dr. Malmed. She asked me, how much do you think the colloidal silver is helping me in tandem with the ASEA? I had been taking the colloidal silver for quite some time while I was sick. And it seemed to be helping me at that point, so I never stopped taking it. And I've just read so many great things about colloidal silver. So I continue to take it. But it wasn't until I started taking the ASEA that things really changed. I can send you what type I take at another time, Nico. It's actually called Designs for Health. So let's see. How
about if I add a little bit to that, if you're okay with that, Scott?
That's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so colloidal silver is an awesome product. We have it in our home. Also got it from Donna Pagliaro, of course. It's an awesome antibacterial. It's a great product, and it is not redox signaling molecules. So redox signaling molecules is antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. So it's more powerful. And by the way, when you take colloidal silver, the hope is that you will have enough redox signalers to allow it to know what to do. So Scott was taking colloidal silver. He just wasn't getting all the way better yet until he replenished his redox signalers. And that's when it makes everything work better. So we don't tell people to change anything, just add ASEA so that everything can work at its peak. So again, as Terri had said before, it doesn't matter what supplement, it doesn't matter what medicine you're on. If you take ASEA, it's going to make everything work better because you now have the messengers that make it work.
Fantastic. And I think that probably answers her second part to that question, which was she's been studying physiology. She never heard of the term redox signaling. Could you speak to this? Which I believe you just did.
I like speaking to that a lot. My favorite is typically students and people who are new who say, oh, I know all about redox reactions. That's in inorganic chemistry. It's simple stuff. Redox signaling molecules, again, it's not that new, but in the science world it is. But when you have 15,000 peer-reviewed studies that are written in PubMed.gov, which is the National Institute of Health Library, that represents about 15 million hours of study, and that's just in PubMed.gov. Go to scholar.google.com, and you will see 500,000 citations for what are considered scholarly articles. This is newish, but this has been known about since 1998 when a Nobel Prize was given for that redox signaling molecule. That was nitric oxide.
Fantastic. Okay, next question. Let me scroll up here. Can you explain the difference in the trace amount of chlorine versus chlorine in a pool, for instance? Also, would there be long-term effects of chlorine intake from ASEA?
Okay, so let's take the second part first. $6 million in safety studies. Okay, so if you're drinking Clorox bleach, you're going to have what's called a histamine response. Your body's going to freak out. We're going to see toxic levels of things going on. We're going to see cytotoxicity, which means toxicity in the cell. Zero toxicity. So when your cells make redox signaling molecules, there is zero toxicity. What we made is bioidentical to exactly what every cell in the body makes. So when we say zero toxicity and that it's safer than water, we actually mean it's safer than water. So this isn't pool water. When you talk about chlorine, we're talking about hypochlorites, which is a set of redox signalers, and what's called elemental chlorine, which is totally safe in the amounts that are in our bottles. So you're smelling hypochlorite, you're smelling elemental chlorine, but you are not smelling something that's toxic because we are proven to be safer than water.
So it's what your body makes. So to put it simply, is your body makes these things. Your body doesn't, people think of chlorine when they see chlorine, they think of bleach, they think of pool chlorine. Completely different. Your body makes its own supply of this. So this is not chlorine. Chlorine will kill you if you were to drink chlorine or drink bleach, drink enough pool water, you're going to be sick. So this is very, very different. It's what the body makes. It's
exactly.
just
bioidentical.
I've drank an Olympic size amount of ASEA pool water. It hasn't done anything to me, but made me feel so much better.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's a good question. I know people get confused with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another question. I think you talked about the ingredients, because the ingredients don't say redoxyl, just as salt and water. What is the makeup of ASEA? You answered the glutathione question. I read that ASEA increases glutathione.
The ingredients are really important, Scott, because people go, salt and water. Well, think about when the reason it doesn't have redox signaling molecules in the ingredients is because redox signaling molecules are not an ingredient. It's like when you make a cake. You know, you put together flour and eggs and sugar and all of those things. It goes in the oven, and what comes out now is a cake. No longer just sugar and flour and those things. The same thing. It starts with salt and water. What takes your body nanoseconds. Your body is constantly trying to make these molecules. A healthy child has 100% of their molecules. That's why they heal so quickly. That's why their skin is beautiful. As we age, the body loses the ability to make these molecules. So, where was I going with this one? Totally forgot.
You're talking about the ingredients.
Oh, the ingredients.
So on a cake, it doesn't say cake on ingredients.
Exactly.
It says it on the label. So we say salt and water, which is the ingredients. It's important to know the salt and water is broken down into sodium and chloride and hydrogen and oxygen, which are the atoms that redox signaling molecules are made of. Then they get reconfigured into a blend of redox signaling molecules, and then that's where bioagilitics comes in and confirms that all of our bottles have redox signaling molecules in them.
I know where I was going. I know. It takes your body nanoseconds to make. It takes ASEA 3 days. So it takes 3 days to make these molecules out of salt and water. As Dr. Malmed said, it breaks them down, rebuilds them, and what comes out is now redox signaling. So if you look at the bottle, you look at where it says each bottle contains trillions of redox signaling molecules, and that's where bioagilitics certifies that that's what we have in our bottle.
I just got another quick question. What kind of process does the salt and water go through?
Electrolytic hydrolyzation. Anything else? Okay, so this is electrolyzed hydrolyzed saline solution. So that's the magic of this, and it's proprietary, and we'll never know. But
that's why nobody can copy
there's
it.
I've seen how they make it. It's awesome, and it has to do with an electrolytic process that reconfigures all this stuff in a very, very fancy way. And what comes out of our process that Terri had mentioned before, it takes 3 days for us to do what your cells do in milliseconds, but ours are stable, and in your body they're not, and that's pretty awesome. And I see, by the way, there's a question here from Diane about your chiropractor saying ASEA's not working for her because she's hydrated already. Yeah, Diane, so that's a pretty funny answer. That's for somebody who hasn't looked at this for 2 seconds. So if you get your chiropractor's interest and they're willing to look at a video or a document, and then they'd like to talk to the chiropractor that used it in a hospital for 5 years, I am happy to talk to your chiropractor. Okay, but that's somebody who hasn't looked at it yet.
It's not about hydrating the body. So like I said, guys, and when I was saying about a healthy child, that's why their skin is so beautiful. That's why when they fall down, they scrape their knee, they heal in 2 days. Starting at around the age of puberty, the body loses the ability because, like we said, of the environmental factors, stress, all of the things that damage our bodies, ourselves in the sun, exercise, medications, everything. Starting at the age of puberty, it starts to lose the ability to make them. By the age of 50, we only have about 50% of these molecules left. By the age of 70, we have about 10%. You can live without food for a few days, for a couple weeks. You can live without water maybe for a few days. If your body was to stop making redox signaling molecules, you would be dead instantly, period. So all we're doing is giving back the body's what it needs more, or we're just replenishing it with these redox signaling molecules. We're not hydrating the body. We're giving it back what it needs to stay young, to repair itself, to stay young. This is the fountain of youth in a bottle, period.
Yep, absolutely. It certainly is. At 55, I tell you, I've never felt better.
Yeah, I'm 120.
Yeah. And I'm just going to whip this out real quick because I'm very proud of this. That is my Spartan medal.
Go, baby, go.
Oh, nice.
And I did my first one at the age of 54. I turned 55 in 2 weeks, and I'll be doing my second one. And if it wasn't for this product, I'd be nowhere near this.
Yeah,
So.
we didn't even talk about, congratulations. We didn't even talk about the athletic benefits.
The athletic side, yeah.
There's so much, you guys, what these products do will blow your mind. Try them.
Exactly. And you know what? And we didn't talk about the business model at all. I know there was a question about why this distribution model.
Yep.
Because they're brilliant. So it's important for people to know that, why isn't this FDA? It was going to be FDA. So this was going to be sold to a pharmaceutical company back in 2007. And they were offering well into 9 figures for the technology, for the intellectual property for this product, for the machines that made the product. And the people who own the technology turned down the money because they had 135 people in 20 countries on this product, some of whom, like my patient, had grave illnesses that were having amazing results, and he could not take away their lives by taking a check. And he said it was too harsh, it wasn't fair, it's not who he is. He's a very religious guy. And they said, we need to do this some other way. So you'll notice we just talked for about 45 minutes about this new science. This stuff, if it's just sitting on the shelf in Walgreens, none of you are buying it. I promise you. It has to come with a story, and the only distribution model that makes that work is relationship marketing, network marketing. We wanted nothing to do with it. And now we are both professional network marketers because it's a better way. It's where people with average intelligence, average education, Terri has a high school diploma, and she's a triple diamond. It's an even playing field. It's a brilliant business model. And I will tell you, Scott is just as thankful as Terri and I that we have that business model, and now we can go share it. And just like doctors, when I help a patient, I get paid. When Scott helps one of you on this call, he gets paid some money, and he deserves it because he's changing your present and your future.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great answer. Great answer.
People don't realize, that word of mouth is the best distribution model. People think, well, why don't I see it on TV? Who watches commercials? How many of you, I DVR everything. I don't watch commercials. I fast forward. Even on the internet, when you're on the internet and you're looking at something and it says skip ad in 4 seconds, as soon as you can skip that ad, you're pushing that button. Word of mouth is the best distribution. It's just like if you go to a good movie, you share it. You tell your friends and family. You say, oh my gosh, I just saw the best movie. You go to a good restaurant. You share it. That is the same thing that we are doing, because look at that chiropractor. She said, I don't need to be hydrated. She never looked into what this product is. She looked at it and said salt and water and put it down. So this was the best way to get this. We are now going into 30 countries, 8 years. We are moving into Asia this year, South America, Central America. We are all in through Europe, Canada, Mexico. You cannot stop this, because when people see what it does, they share it with their friends and family. So word of mouth is the best way to get the word out.
Fantastic. I don't see any more questions.
There was one more question that I just want to add a little bit to about the glutathione supplement, why you can't just do that.
Yep.
So there are glutathione supplements They don't really work very well at all. The stomach acids tear up glutathione when it comes in a supplement form. The ways that we can also make more glutathione is giving the body more building blocks. So that's cysteine, glycine, and glutamic acid. And you can find N-acetylcysteine, and it might help your glutathione a little bit, but those are what we call exogenous substances, substances from outside the body that your body needs redox signalers to figure out what to do with those things to try to make glutathione. Instead, when you drink ASEA, you increase your body's production of cysteine, glycine, and glutamic acid in a perfectly natural and native way, and now your body is making its own glutathione, and that's what works.
Okay, here's a great question from Nico, just popped up. With bug bites, you have a parasite eating your joints. Could you please tell me how this product helps this? Sounds like it helps the cells repair themselves faster. So the parasite, where'd it go? So the parasite damage doesn't affect us as much? Question?
Okay, so when a parasite is affecting a joint, what's the parasite doing? It's causing cellular damage in the joint. So we have these people with these bug bites on this webinar, and they're feeling awesome. How did that happen? It happened because this product allows the cells to repair. So very quickly, because I get to be the research guy, there was a study done about 2 years ago that said, what's the difference between Lyme patients and normal patients? And they found two things that was true across the board. All Lyme patients had high oxidative stress levels, and they all had low cellular communication capacity. When you drink ASEA, you decrease your oxidative stress levels and you increase your cellular communication. That sounds to me like a clue. And if any of you need that study, because this is not a Lyme product, this is a cellular product, Scott will be happy to provide that study for you. We've been using it for 2 years.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when people say, well, gosh, I have kidney, I have heart, I have liver this, I have this condition. Is it going to work? Everything is caused by oxidative stress. And can you just do the analogy of oxidative stress, please, with the human rusting?
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit before. So oxidative stress is that oxidation process that happens to metal on a car. It's what happens to humans. But the pathway is oxidative stress.
I don't think you talked about the car. Oh, did you?
Yeah. Okay. So oxidative stress, that was when you were getting the dogs.
I was getting the dogs.
Exactly.
Sorry.
We're dog lovers. By the way, of course, our dogs drink ASEA twice every day.
You bet.
So oxidative stress becomes inflammation. Inflammation becomes degeneration. Degeneration becomes disease and ultimately death. So if we can go all the way at the beginning and help that oxidation, we can help that whole cascade of events, and we can try to head that off. So this is, remember, two most important things. Health is wealth, and you know it when you don't have it. And this is about giving you peace of mind, knowing that you are taking the most powerful product on the planet to help you have a better present and future.
I'm just looking to see if there's anything else, and you've answered that question phenomenally as well.
You're talking to Terri. You're talking to
we're
Terri.
going to be having.
You guys are fantastic tonight.
If you guys, we have a Super Saturday is what it's called. We're going to do a presentation. There is an emergency room doctor. Dr. Dick Walker is coming in from Spokane, Washington. We have Debbie Wetzler coming in from Maryland. We have top people coming in this Saturday. If you want to see more, just it's going to be in Mahwah, New Jersey, this Saturday from 9 o'clock to 3:30. We're going to, like I said, have a presentation. You can come learn more about the science. We have somebody, the vice president of sales is coming in as well from Utah. Please join us. And if you'd like to get back to Scott, he'll tell you how, or you can just go to Super Saturday, May 20th, .eventbrite.com. So it's Super Saturday, May 20th, .eventbrite.com, and you'll get more information on it. Join us.
Okay, and this doctor who's coming to do the presentation with us, he's a 40-year emergency room doctor, and when he hit triple diamond in this company, he cried on stage because he had no answer to be able to spend time with his family, and now he does, and he's going to tell his story, and he's coming not just to talk about science, he's coming to talk about how this business model saves lives.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing's better than making a living while making a difference in lives.
No, I agree, and I certainly didn't look at this as a business model because I was so sick. I just wanted to get better. But when I realized what it was doing for me, and then when I got my mom on it and the results that she had, that's when you got to just realize that this is too important.
Yeah.
People need to know about it. It's that simple.
Scott, we can't thank you enough. We are so glad that if Terri hadn't gotten well so quickly, we might not be here.
That's exactly it.
Awesome, and thank you, Scott. You are one of the angels out there doing this every day, and we are forever grateful for what you do.
Well, thank you guys for jumping on here. I am forever grateful to both of you, that's for sure. Thanks, everybody, for getting on. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And be well, everyone.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Good night. If nobody's got any more questions.